The rain drizzled in cold needles as Devon tightened the frayed scarf around his neck. He crouched low, the crumbling prison walls casting long shadows in the moonlight. The plan had been brewing in his mind for years, ever since the moment he was wrongfully convicted of a crime he didn't commit. Now, with the smell of freedom tantalizingly close, every sound seemed amplified: the patter of rain, the creak of the old gate, the distant bark of a guard dog. Years of digging, scheming, and waiting had led to this night. The hole under his bed frame, concealed by a loose stone, had finally reached the outside. His hands, raw and calloused from years of toil, trembled as he pushed aside the last layer of dirt. The cool night air hit his face, carrying with it the scent of wet earth and pine. Devon pulled himself free, his heart hammering as he crouched in the shadows. He scanned the yard, no sign of the guards. The prison floodlights flickered sporadically, a testament to the institution's decay. He dashed to the perimeter wall, his movements swift despite the weight of years spent in confinement. With a makeshift rope fashioned from bed linens, he scaled the wall and dropped to the other side. Freedom. The forest surrounding the prison was dense and silent. He ran for miles, his bare feet scraping against roots and rocks, until the sight of a sleepy town emerged through the misty haze. His destination was clear: his family's home. When Devon had been taken, his wife, Emily, and their young daughter, Clara, had clung to him, their faces etched with sorrow. He'd held on to that memory, the thought of their reunion sustaining him through the bleakest days. The house stood just as he remembered it, a modest structure at the end of a cobblestone path. But something was off. The garden, once vibrant with Emily's flowers, was overgrown with weeds. The windows were dark, the curtains drawn. Devon hesitated, his hand hovering over the doorknob. Taking a deep breath, he pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with dust and silence. Furniture lay covered in sheets, and a stack of unopened letters sat on the mantel. He picked one up, his hands trembling as he read the postmark: 3 years ago. Panic surged. He searched the house, calling out for Emily and Clara, but only echoes greeted him. In the kitchen, he found a faded photograph pinned to the wall. It was Emily, her arm around a man Devon didn't recognize. Clara, now older, smiled in the man's arms. A single line of text was scrawled on the back: "Our new beginning." Devon sank into a chair, the weight of the truth pressing down on him. They'd moved on. Years of waiting, of dreaming, had been for nothing. The sound of a car pulling up outside jolted him from his thoughts. He peeked through the curtain to see a neighbor stepping out. His heart raced as he recognized Mrs. Hayward, an old friend of Emily's. "Devon?" she called hesitantly, her flashlight cutting through the dark. "Is that you?" He stepped out, his voice hoarse. "Where are they?" Mrs. Hayward sighed, her face a mixture of pity and caution. "They left town years ago. After everything. They thought I was guilty, didn't they?" His voice cracked. "They had no choice, Devon," she said gently. "They tried to hold on, but life had to go on." Devon nodded, the ache in his chest sharper than any prison bar. As the rain began to fall again, Devon stood alone, staring at the empty house. Freedom had come at a cost he hadn't anticipated, the loss of everything he'd fought for. He turned back to the road, his footsteps heavy but resolute. If he'd survived prison, he could survive this too. Somewhere, there was a new life waiting for him. But tonight, all he had was the hollow echo of what could have been.